So you were attracted to capitalism.
Yes, I was.
You divorced communism in some sense, if that's what it was, if that's
Well,
what
I
it really
think the
was.
communist divorced itself. It just kind of maybe fell dead. But I didn't know what capitalism is. And right here, to me, it was love at first sight. Because it's an ability for someone to go, where else is it possible for someone to have nothing, to start a business, to work his or her way up, and to get to a place where that something is valuable. And not everyone succeeds, but just the fact that you have a chance is so very special. And that was not given when I was growing up. It was not given in many other places of the world back then and also now.
Now you have this incubator group called Sputnik.
Yeah.
How did you get there?
Right. Well, one of the projects when I was doing consulting was actually on incubators. And at that time, it was purely theoretical knowledge, but it was really fascinating because in a similar way as I had to learn about capitalism right around that time of my life, I had to learn about, and I was glad to learn about venture capital and how that goes and funds small businesses. And that knowledge came in useful to me later down the road. When I left McKinsey, I actually went and I worked for Motorola in marketing of all things, which I've never done a day of marketing in my life prior to going there. But I had spectacular team, spectacular mentor in Jeffrey Frost, the CMO of Motorola. And also I was there at the right time because the time we were there was when we were launching Razr, which changed how people view mobile phones. Right. So again, that's just spectacular learning. And all of those, if you were to listen to any one of these and say, Oksana might have a case of professional ADD. And you might be right to say that. However, in my world as a venture capitalist, all of those different things, all of them, they come to play. All of them come to play really nicely because there is a lot of problems to solve and discover. There is a lot of data and information to absorb. You have to work with people and you make. One of the things that really drives me is helping people perform to their higher potential. There is a ton of that. There was a ton of that in consulting. There is a ton of that in being a venture capitalist, the way I view my role. And all of the business is ultimately about growing them, so it's ultimately about marketing. So my exposure to being in one of the best marketing teams at probably one of the times of the fastest growth is unparalleled experience. So that was my journey in highlights.
But what happened? Did you just wake up one morning and say, I want to be a venture capitalist? Or what? There's a piece of this journey that's missing that I'm trying to get to.
The seed of becoming an investor, I think, was planted when I was at McKinsey. But I was busy doing other things, but I was accumulating information, learning about that space. Then when I left McKinsey, that's when my investor journey had begun, and I began by investing, not having the incubator right away, but investing as those people are called angels. So while I was working and consulting other companies and earning a paycheck, I was also doing some angel investing, and little by little, that gave me more pleasure, and I stepped into the line where investing became my full-time profession.
And how did you get the capital? Let's go to capital because that's what we're talking about. How did you get the capital to get something started that belongs to you? It's one thing to use somebody else's money and somebody else's idea, but this is your conception, Sputnik. How did you get the capital to do that?
Well, my first permission to invest came because our family had earned it. I've mentioned that we came to this country with $100, and then we were on a student stipend for a really, really long time. But it happened to be that through a lot of hard work and a lot of good luck and a lot of great training, my husband had earned a lot of money as a high-frequency trader. And we were very young, and we decided that we want to do something really good with that money. And as a family decision, we decided that we're going to invest in the companies that make this world, companies, opportunities where we have a chance to do good and do well at the same time. And that's how my journey as an investor started. So it's a bit...
So it's family...
I started investing family money.
You invested family money.
Yep.
And now And now you have this, how many firms do you have in your incubator? How many?
Well, Sputnik is about a year and a half old, and Sputnik has 14 companies in its portfolio by now.
And how many of those do you think will make it to the big stage, so to speak?
Well, I hope a lot of them would. I think right now we have at least 5 or 6 that are on the rapid way to becoming a unicorn, which is unusual. But 100% of them are still in business, 100% of them are growing. And it's a typical question. People ask me about this a lot, which ones of your company you like most. And until the exit had happened, until the judgment is out, I'm an eternal optimist. One of the things you have to be as an investor, you have to be really hopeful. And I think our companies so far, knock on wood, have done quite well.
Now, here's the question. Suppose you had access to family money and you liked the venture capital model. Mm-hmm. So you merge those two things and presto whammo, you have an incubator company. But what if you hadn't had the family money? Would this have happened?
You know what? That's, I won't get to go and tell that story, but I know that a lot of people who do not have access to family money, if they believe in the idea, they will find other people that they would convince of that would give them that money to invest.
So the lesson learned is there's a way to get capital, you just have to find that way.
I think so, and I didn't say that was an easy way to get capital. Even with our family, like not ever, not in a million years, I would say that our path to money was easy. If you think about decades of making, like we started with a stipend of $4 a month. We had to convince someone to give us a scholarship just to fly to US because we could not afford that ticket. We had to earn the academic scholarship and teach and work our way to graduate school just to get that, maybe taking home at the time about $1,000 a month, work our way through. So that was anything far from easy. But I know also of people, there is this lady, I hope I don't botch her name. Her name is Arlen Hamilton. I think she is, she has everything like traditionally going against the stereotypical venture capitalist profile. She is African American. I think she might have been homeless. Like she has no access to money. But I think she believed in giving people like herself an opportunity to build their businesses, and so she went in that premise. She built her investment firm, and so things like this exist. The path to money is never easy, but if you know where you're heading, if you're convinced of your goal, you will find a way.
If you have a vision and you believe in it.
Yep. Like the saying that in my notebook when I wake up, very often there is a saying, where there is a will, there is a way. Where the energy goes, the focus flows. I'm like when I'm feeling down, which it's easy to look back and look at this this complete story of success, but there are dark days for me and for everyone, and a reminder that you could reset. Every day, God had given us like the day ends and the new day begins. And every morning you have a choice, and you could choose to be a winner, you could choose to be a fighter. And even if you get a lot of dark, hard blows by the end of the day, you still get to make that choice the next morning. And I think people who succeed, they don't succeed every single second, but they make enough of the choices where they wake up picking a fight as opposed to picking it to give up. Ultimately, that's how you get to your goal.